Lower body day today. So come and join me for what I do for lower body. Now, this is how I think. I'm going to show you what I think you need to do to tick off all the main boxes to make sure you have a really good lower body session. My goal for lower body is just to try and have good amount of muscle mass, have really good function in and out of the gym when I'm day to day with my kids. I don't want to be dommed up and be really sore. So like you might have seen a previous episode where we go really hard on upper body. I don't do that with legs. You can still get leg growth without having to go to failure. But the one thing we don't want, I don't want you to train and the next day you're like, I'm so sore. I can't get up and down. You know, I can't sit on the toilet pan without DOMs. Like that's not really training. Upper body you can push. Legs I kind of play a bit more the long game with. So making sure I don't get too much volume. I only go to failure on some isolation exercise, which you'll see today at the end. But on my big compound moves, I sort of keep it pretty simple. So you'll be able to see what sort of volume I'm hitting, what exercises I'm doing, why I'm doing them, and you get really good, well-rounded leg development. Now, some of you who are regular listeners are going to go, I bet you Sam talks about mobility next. Guess what we're doing now? Mobility. So you're starting to see a common theme here. So always do mobility. I actually was demoing this session with my wife and her sister the other day. So I was like, right, do some mobility. And I just thought being females, they have pretty good hip mobility. And they went, crikey, Sam, you're flexible. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I am. And they found it really difficult. They were in their 30s. And it kind of makes you realize it's use it or lose it with mobility. So yeah, this is just a deep squat. And I come up into a hamstring stretch. So I'll do that maybe 5 times. So we'll do 3 or 4 hip mobility moves. Then I'll do some activation. I'll show you what that is in a sec. But I just think this is a really good habit to get into. It takes 3 or 4 minutes. You don't need any recovery or rest because it's mobility. I'm swaying back and forward, by the way, because I get a little bit of ankle mobs in there as well. So just push those knees over the toes. And then while I'm at the bottom, I'm going to squeeze my elbows with my knees just slightly. And this is going to activate my adductors as well. Come up for a hamstring rather, and then sit back down. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, I'm going to go into a rocking adductor. So I just activated my adductors by squeezing them then in a deep squat. So I'm just going to rock backwards really gently, just 6 times on the right leg, and then 6 times on the left leg. Okay, then I'm going to pop onto my back. I like getting my glutes moving as well, so put my one foot on top of this knee, and then this leg can drive this leg back, which exaggerates this glute stretch. And once I think I've got enough there, 10 seconds, just drop and then into a little bit of lower back. So a little bit of glute and lower back. Back up for the glute. Just 5 seconds there. Come into the lower back. When you do lower back, try and keep this left shoulder on the floor. So opposite arm, but try and keep that arm on the floor. So you're getting a bit of glute and we're getting a bit of lower and mid back in there as well. Switch legs. Purchase your tracks. Last one of the mobility series. So into hip flexor. Just push up that hip flexor. If you tense this bum cheek, you'll suddenly feel it's a lot more of a stretch on the front. So think about tensing the bum cheek with the knee that's on the floor, and you'll attack that hip flexor a little bit more. Then we're just going to drop in, and it's still important to get hip and thoracic mobility in at the same time. And we're just going to rotate around. So drop that elbow towards the floor as close as you can, inside your knee, and then rotate back. Just do 3 or 4 of these, and we'll swap sides. So into the opposite side hip flexor, tense that bum cheek, and you can extend that foot forwards a tad, drop the elbow. Let's rotate around as well. So we're getting a bit of hip, adductor, glute, and thoracic mobility at the same time. You see a lot of coaches preach this when you kill a lot of birds with one stone. A little bit of activation work now. So probably like you think of some of the muscles which are really underdeveloped and people don't focus on. One is the adductors. You'll see people on these machines like this, which they obviously work your adductors. Those machines with the pads, and you're sort of moving your legs in like this. You can train your adductor and activate your adductor before lower body sessions, and you should, because there's some of you who are probably like young players out there. I've got groin problems. How often do you train your groin? If the answer is I don't deliberately train my groin, so it's probably a bit of weakness, which is why I've got groin pain. So pop this pad in the middle, squeeze for 2 or 3 seconds, relax. Come up, squeeze for 2 or 3 seconds, and repeat that for maybe 6 total reps. And now we're just activating those adductors ready for lower body, which a lot of people often neglect. Obviously going up as well, when we're up in this position, those hamstrings, that lower back, your glutes, they're all getting activated at the same time as well. Right, and then we're going to superset this with This is a lovely one. It's such a hard exercise. Probably one of the most deceptively hard exercises out there. Gotta go this side. So it's like a side bridge, side plank, and this is gonna really fire up your glute med, so one of the important small muscles in your bum. And we're gonna warm up our core at the same time. All I want you to do in that perfect side plank position is lift this leg up 5 times. You might only do it a couple to start, but as you lift it up there, your glute on the leg that's supporting you, because your hip wants to do this, so you're fighting to keep it up. So that glute med is working so hard. Core is warming up at the same time, and then switch sides. And this is a really good activation. Glute med, adductor, core, glutes, lower back. We're going to be ready to lift after this. Right, so that's 10 minutes of mobility and activation done. That's not just, don't look at it as just purely warm up, right? Like doing all those small exercises. I promised this to my wife and she said, I believe you now, because she's seeing the fruits of her labor. I give it all these little things. It feels like you're wasting your time doing a 10-minute warm up. I'm like, no, trust me, right? This will make you feel so much better in everyday life. You're not just going to a gym and just leg pressing endlessly and then getting DOMs the next day. We're going to like warm you up safely so you can lift better and get better quality out of your session. But we're warming up and activating a lot of the muscles which you might neglect, which will benefit your bigger lifts, and it'll make you feel better day to day. So you'll suddenly like notice when you're bending down to pick something up, or you want to run, you want to jump, you're like, oh, I feel pretty good. It's like, oh yeah, you're doing the right stuff in the gym. So it's only 10 minutes, but I promise you the transfer into your training and into the way that you feel day to day. You go, I used to have hip pain, it's gone. We'll kill 3 birds with 1 stone for you. So make sure you don't skip your mobility and activation. Right, so I'm going to do my first exercise, a double leg strength. So double leg means 2 legs at the same time. Think back squat, leg press, belted squat, they're all great. I'm going to go for a belted squat variation today. I got like bulges in my back, so I tend to leave barbells off, heavy barbells off my back. So belted squat is a lovely variation for my double leg strength. So don't get too much axial, spinal basically loading. I can go into a nice squat. I'm not going to annoy my lower back, so I love a belted squat. I'm going to do 3 to 4 working sets on this. Obviously like leg press, you've got belt squat. Squat is another good double leg. You've got front squat. There's so many variations for double leg. Like there's no one right or wrong. I like to do all of them. I love leg press as well because you can go to failure if you want. I don't really endorse failure too much on legs unless you know the next day you're completely off or you got an off feet kind of day, work related, but I'm a family guy now, so my days off mean chasing around an 8-year-old, 4-year-old and 2-year-old. So I don't really want to go to failure on leg press because I'm not going to be a very good dad the next day. That's my double leg done. So now I've done double leg, I'll now move to a single leg strength move. So to explain what that means, without sounding patronising, you might go, if you're in the gym, you go in belted squat, front squat, then leg press. You kind of do great intention, but you're doing the wrong thing. I trained with a mate who trained like that. So mate, let's do some Bulgarian split squats. Just pretend this is a bench. He was like this. I grabbed some normal dumbbells. Body weight, he was like that. He couldn't do it. He'd worked on machines the whole time. So I say, I want us to build muscle, but I want to be functional at the same time. So I'm going to do a single leg move now, which means Bulgarian split squat or reverse lunge or a step up or a sled push. So got the sled here set up. I'm going to do a sled push. I love a sled push because there's no back loading, very easy to perform. Get a little bit of calf loading in there as well, because obviously we've got to push off the balls of our toes. So just do like 20-meter efforts. A weight that's going to be hard for 20 meters, but this is going to be classified as our single leg move. Like I said, you can swap it in on different training phases. For 4-week block, focus on this. Next 4-week block, maybe focus on a lunge variation, but we've got a double leg. Let's complement that now with a strong single leg move. So we make sure that one leg isn't dominant. You might do like a squat without realizing 55% of the work, hypothetically, might be going through one leg, 45% through the other. But single leg work, you're putting all that load through, or majority of that load through one leg. So make sure that you get rid of all imbalances. It's like a 10-meter track, so I'll probably do 7 meters at a time. So I go up and down 3 times. Three sets of double leg. I'll do 3 sets on a single leg exercise like this. I'll do 2 more exercises of 3 sets. Look at 12 sets, and I might add in some core, maybe some calves. So my leg days, again, if you're banging out 30 sets of legs, you ain't training hard enough. 12, 15 sets of legs, maybe 18 if you can afford to have a day the next day where you don't mind experiencing too much soreness, that's fine, but I'm personally not a fan of that. So I'm gonna go for 12 to 15 sets today, and that should be your legs cooked. If you do that twice a week, your legs will grow. Some people who are time poor can only commit to 3 sessions a week. I'd recommend an upper body session, a lower body session like this, and that third day should be a full body. So you might get 9 sets of upper body in, maybe 12. You could get 6 to 9 sets in of legs. So at least you get that upper body stimulus and lower body stimulus twice per week. And because you only train legs for 6 to 9 sets on that full body, you're gonna go pretty hard. So important to hit muscle groups twice per week, in my opinion. Right, I'll tell you a common question as well is, I know a lot of gyms don't have sleds. So my first bit of advice would be, if it doesn't have a sled, ideally find a gym locally that does. If it doesn't, well, what's a good swap for sled? You've probably got, they're not ideal. A walking lunge is okay, but I don't think it's perfect because a lot of it is momentum. And when you're walking in a walking lunge, you're using that back leg to propel you up. Well, if the focus is to build some muscle, like you want to isolate that front leg, so I actually would rather just do a reverse lunge, because then that back leg is purely for balance. Just something to search for beyond all the weight going through that front leg. Or another good swap would just be step ups. Now, when you're doing step ups again, you don't want this leg to be doing the work and bouncing you up. Like I said, take away the ego. We're here to sort of build some muscle and target the right area. So this is a front leg movement to leg us on the bench. So think about, I don't really want to see your calf tense, this leg that's on the floor, which means that all that weight has to come through your front leg. You can probably see some people, I'll swap legs, you can see better, who do like a barbell or dumbbell step up and they do this. I ain't a single leg step up because you're using 2 legs to finish off the movement. Isolate that front leg, take the weight, and just push off. So if you haven't got a sled, my favorite swaps would either be a reverse lunge or a single leg step up. Right, so now we've done 2 big compound moves. We've done a double leg, we've done a single leg. Another big compound I'd like to do, but it's gonna be too much if I do it in this session, would be like a sort of hinge movement. So you're looking at like I personally like a dumbbell RDL. But I think the one big mistake young coaches make is you try and do everything in one session. Like, don't do that. I see young coaches go like, right, okay, we're gonna do, say if it's like for a sportsman, we're gonna do jumps to start, then we're gonna do a double leg strength, then we're gonna do a single leg strength, then we're gonna do a hinge, then we're gonna do some isolation quads, then we're gonna do some isolation hammies. I'm like, whoop, stop, too much volume. So if I mentioned you before, maybe doing a full body split, if you've got an upper lower full body, my full body day now will include that hinge because I haven't included it today. So across the week, you wanna hit everything, but just accept you can't hit everything in one session. So I appreciate I haven't done a hinge today. I'll do it later on in the week. So I've done my 2 big compounds, double leg, and I've done my single leg compound. Now I'm gonna do some isolation work. I'm gonna do isolation on the quads, isolations on the hamstrings, and isolation on the calves. Done a bit of calf in the sled, but I want to isolate them and really go for them. So here I'm just gonna go 3 sets of quad extensions. I don't mind going to failure now on quads. Don't want to go to failure too often when I do legs for the reason I mentioned earlier, like don't want to be too sore on the day off. But quads, I'm pretty happy to go very close to failure, and I will go pedal to the metal on the last set, get some quad growth. So I'll do 3 sets of quads here, and I'll superset this to save time now with a hamstring. I quite like the rep ranges anywhere between 8 and 15s for these isolation moves on legs. Oh, again, loads of hammies you can use. You can just flick over on that bench and do some leg curls, great exercise. But for today, I can use a Swiss ball because this is good. This covers now. I'm going to show the full spectrum from beginner to advanced if you want to use a Swiss ball. So decide where you are on this. I'm just going to give you some progressions. I'll do a proper set after this, but I'll just show you some progressions. So number 1, if you're brand new to this, you want to do some Hamstring work, we're going to do double leg, and we're just going to do a hip bridge. So just lift it up, come back down. You can do that for as many reps, up to 10 to 12 that you feel comfortable with. Once you get comfortable with that, we can then do this single leg. So once you get to a good strength on double, this is the next progression, single leg. Up, hold, come down, and you can do that, of course, on both legs. Once you get good at that, progression number 3, we go back to the double leg, but rather than go up, we're curling it in. So come to full extension, curl that in. Once you get good at that, you can come in. This is really hard, and then just do a single leg curl. That's an exercise, this is something I have to build up to, so I'm probably on 3 at the minute. So I'm probably gonna come up, I'm gonna do double leg, I'm just gonna do double leg curls. But there's 4 progressions you can do to work your hammies on the Swiss pull. God, see, I'm cramping after 5 or 6. I find that tough, I haven't done this for a while. Oh, Christ. I was just stretching out there, I wasn't working anything. This is my last set on quads. So you might have seen the upper body episode we did. I'm gonna go to the well here, so I'm gonna go pure failure. For this one, I'm gonna choose some rest pause. So I'm gonna do a set, get to failure, rest 5-10 seconds, repeat twice. So whereas I might normally get 10 or 12, I'm probably gonna end up getting 16 reps out of this, just to spike that volume, get to pure failure. That is quads cooked. Right, oh, do you know what? I forgot the progression from this. So once you've done the double legs, it's the 5th progression I was thinking, but I skipped it because my heart rate was at 120. So I mentioned the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. After the 3rd one, so you've got double leg curls like this. Before you go to a single leg curl, which I said was progression number 4, just before that what you should do is this. You should come in, so you're okay with the double leg curls, and just do an eccentric. Single leg eccentric, double leg curl back in, single leg eccentric. That's the 4th progression you should do before you get to a single leg curl, which should be the ultimate and final one. Single leg curl, you've got some strong glutes and hammies, and low back as well. So it's a good one this, you sort of, it's not just hammies, you get a lot of glute, a lot of lower back activation in this as well, but we're training it in a safe manner. I know what you're thinking, what's Warbs doing this? A leg press for at the end, I'm not. Leg press I think is brilliant for calves. Now you can do calf, single leg, but I love using leg press for doing calves. So I was just gonna finish this session, do some calves, gonna do a little bit of core as well, a little tricep. So, gonna get this up to the top. See this little plate here, it's quite convenient. You can use the normal plate as well. Really loaded up heavy, nice, slow and controlled. Fully flex those ankles on the balls of my toes. Push up, hold it for a second. Now, a lot of people complain their calves don't grow, but the reason is, and I'm guilty of this as well, do you train your calves with intent for 6 to 8 sets a week? If the answer is no, and you haven't done that for 3 to 6 months, that's probably why your calves ain't growing. They respond like most of the muscle groups, we just have the least patience with them. Right, I'm gonna superset with some core. Now there's 2 exercises I'm loving at the minute. So I'm going to focus on just abdominals. I'm going to focus on obliques. So for obliques, I'm going to get a nice heavy dumbbell, and all I'm going to do is flex to the side. So I'm going to go down this way. Now this is working this oblique here. This oblique just wants to let me go, but it's tensed because it's holding me up. I'm going to stand up straight, come down, just do 10 each side. And you can feel, put your hand here, you can really feel that oblique working. You want to go pretty heavy on this. And you don't need to flex too far. Just a few inches, back up straight. So this is part of this last tricep I'm doing. Calves, obliques, now I'm going to do abs. I personally hate, you got those GHD machines, which are glute ham developer. It's called GHD because it develops your glute and hams. And you see, I'm going to rinse the CrossFit community a bit here, but they're lying on them and they're going all the way back and they're sitting up all the way. one of my pet peeves, I hate it. The abdominals, do you know what they're designed to do? They're designed to flex 3 feet and you momentum all the way back up. It just kills your spine like this, here to here. So I like to put my legs out like this, engages my lower abs, and to focus on my upper abs now, I'm just going to crunch in and hold. Come back down, just crunch in and kill that spine and hold. All I'm going to do is 10 of these. I'm going to swap my legs over halfway. I'll tell you now, your abs will be absolutely cooking. You probably need to, if this is new to you, you probably only do 2 sets and you'll start cramping. And then at least you know it's doing the right thing. Right, that's just done. I don't know why I always like having core with legs. You still use your core a lot doing legs, but similar to like upper body, because core is so engaged in lower body sessions, it's like your biceps and triceps I find with upper body, the analogy. You do upper body, but I still like to finish with some isolated bicep and tricep work. Same with your core. So I like to pair core with legs, because I find by the time you get to the end of your leg session, your core is obviously fully warm and fully engaged, which is a nice way to tick it off at the end. But that session there, you're looking at 3, 6, 9, 12. I did a little, so it was 12 like hard sets. Then I did like a try set of 2 to 3 rounds at the end. So you can add 6 to 9 sets at the end, take you to 21 total. So really 12 sets of hard legs, then a little bit of calves and core. So that's how I think the perfect leg session looks like. As I mentioned, I'll add a hinge later on in the week. But if you stick to that rationale and that structure for your leg weights and do that for the long term, I promise you, you'll see some massive growth and development in your legs. Cheers, guys.